new governments take charge in Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat, are there lessons for all political parties from these round of elections? I'm Barkha Dutt, here with the Mojo story. On the program today, while the BJP has made history, the Congress has drawn hope from Himachal Pradesh, and the AAP has declared its arrival on the national stage, there are important lessons for all three parties from what we have seen, especially in Gujarat. Politicians depend on rhetoric, but the data, as they say, does not lie. And today we'll be looking at very, very granular data that the C Voter team has put to voters after the elections, what's called post-poll data, to answer a number of very, very interesting questions. Who voted for whom? How did the Muslims vote? How did Dalits vote? Did the young people of Gujarat vote for one party over the other? And so much more to understand in the run up to 2024. So, on the program today, let's introduce our guests as we look at the lessons of 2022. Rasheed Kidwai, India's best political journalist, most prolific author, is with us. Great to see you, Rasheed. Ashwani Shahi, senior leader of the BJP and its spokesperson, is with us. Always a pleasure, Ashwani ji. Yashwant Deshmukh, who of course made waves by his analogy on Mojo Story, comparing the Congress to a Ferrari with a bad driver, is here today with his suitcase full of data to tell us many, many more interesting stories. And also Tehseen, Poonawalla, I'm waiting for the day when he will not say that the party he supports, the Congress party, is going to win the next election. But as they say, never say die, carries you through many a moment. All right, without further ado, let me hand it over to Yashwant, who had a list of very, very specific questions, he and his team, as they try to understand who has voted for whom, in particular in Gujarat. Yashwant, it's over to you.
Crisply, overview what exactly is a post-poll survey for your audience, Barkha. C Voter does the trackers all year long, and particularly the state which are election bound. In Gujarat, for example, we have been doing for almost like 6 months daily trackers. So we have interviewed more than 100,000 people in Gujarat during that exercise. And post-poll is actually contacting them back and understanding whom they eventually voted for, what were the reasons, what were the issues, and most importantly, when did they make up their mind, and what were the things that swayed them this way or that way to understand. And of course, Barkha, many a times people in India accuse the Indian media that we are over-fascinated always with the caste equations and everything. Well, no, this election, this particular set of data goes beyond just the caste arithmetic, dwells a lot into socio-economic patterns and other things, and makes us understand how exactly, which way people have voted for. And statistically speaking, Barkha, this is as good as it can get, because now that the election results are there, this data is weighted to the actual election results. So in an easier term, this mirrors the actual results. And what Election Commission data doesn't tell us is that which part of demography has voted for whom. When done the reverse engineering this way, this data gives us all the exploration of which part of demographic set in the granularest possible level. Whatever data we are going to present in the Gujarat level, but we also have the same set of the database giving us solving the puzzles and the mysteries at the regional level, at the district level, and even at the individual seat level. So without now wasting much time into that, if there are any other questions on that, I'm most welcome, Barkha. People can talk and ask this question. I would be happy to answer on social media or anywhere. However, let's start with the first one that we have cleared out on the age group. The two distinct patterns which Gujarat has told us in post-poll survey is that as the age goes up, Barkha, the support for BJP also goes up. On the other hand, as the age goes down, or if you look into the first-time voters particularly, this is where the Aam Aadmi Party, the new entrant, has got the maximum traction. And that is very interesting because there are a huge regional variations into that as well. Because, for example, the way you look at it, that, okay, if BJP's got half of the new voters, but their support among the aged voters goes up to 56. If you go 55 plus into further 65 or 75 plus, this in fact keep on going up and up and up in that way. On the other hand, Aam Aadmi Party's traction among the youngsters, the first time voters, 18 to 24 age group, that has been the maximum. And in the regional variation, it is very interesting to observe when you look into the basically Kutch and Saurashtra. This 15% in Kutch and Saurashtra is as much as 25%, actually more than the Congress. And in the South Gujarat, it is almost at par with the Congress, approximately 20-21%. So in two regions of Saurashtra, Kutch Saurashtra, and in South Gujarat, actually among the first-time voters, Aam Aadmi Party has voted more than the Congress. That is a very interesting phenomena, and that is something which even BJP should be worried in these two areas, because we know that even though they have gone a historic victory and everything, but BJP leaders generally are very keen to understand what is gonna be 5 years down the lane for their challenges. Because today's voters, Barkha, in the pie, the first time voter is hardly about 10%, but by the time the 5 years will go by, this first time voter and the voters coming after these are almost gonna be, say, about 1/3 of Gujarat voters, statistically speaking, and that is going to become a very significant pie. So yes, I mean, BJP has to worry about that a little bit. I think Congress has to worry about that more, because if the new generation is not looking at the Congress as an agent of change, and they are not going for BJP. I'm talking about the non-BJP new generation voters. They are switching over to Aam Aadmi Party in at least two regions. In North Gujarat and in the Central Gujarat, this impact is almost like only about 5-6% for AAP, or 7%. So in those two regions, AAP hasn't been able to even go through the youngsters, new time voters. But in these two regions, Saurashtra and in South Gujarat, I think they have made a very, very decent impact among the first-time voters. BJP, on the other hand, I believe, even with the 50% vote share of the first-time voters, that is significant, because after 30 years of being in power, Barkha, there is almost like a whole generation which has never seen Congress in power. Even after that, if they are able to get this kind of an impact, I mean, this is actually quite good. But still, I know that many in the BJP would like to see even this age group going into 50s and touching almost 60s. So this data is important for them as well. Barkha?
Okay, let's shift our focus now to the next theme. If we can bring up the next slide as we look at this data. Can we change to the next? Can we please change to the next theme? As we're looking at different groups and how they voted. This is Yashwant. How do different income groups vote? And let me hand it over to Yashwant. Can we
Very
unmute
classical.
Yashwant, please?
Barkha, as the income goes up, the support for the BJP also goes up, which is very different from, let's say, what we have seen in the case of Uttar Pradesh, for example. Where we saw that the low income group actually voted big time for the BJP. But here, yes, the support almost goes up among the higher income group and middle income group. On the other hand, it's inversely proportional as far as the Aam Aadmi Party. Congress support base is relatively higher when you see in terms of lower and higher, 25, 27 and 28. So relatively almost the same category. But if you look into the Aam Aadmi Party, again, it is very clear that their freebies economics and freebie promises has gained traction more in the low income group than in the higher income group. And Barkha, Gujarat थोड़ा सा समृद्ध राज्य वैसे भी है, तो गुजरात में the total number of people who fall into middle and higher category as a pie is much bigger than any other state to compare on. But yes, if you are looking at the new entrant and as the oldest people in the power, I think there is a very clear trend as far as the age group is concerned. There is a very clear trend as far as the income groups are concerned. The newcomer party that is up is gaining more traction. And again, just like in the regional variation we talked about in the age group, here also this traction gains even further as far as the Saurashtra and particularly in South Gujarat is concerned. Because in the South Gujarat, you will see the similar trend which will go in sync as far as AAP is concerned among the tribal votes, Barkha. And that is something which I believe that many people have got surprised that how exactly people were not expecting Aam Aadmi Party to vote in beyond the urban areas. And that is one thing which, we'll eventually come down to that, Baka. But yes, this is one thing if you can, exactly. Thank you so much for putting this graphar. This is the set of data which is which debunks that entire oversimplification of concept of AAP is working on, and oversimplification of the concept of BJP that is working on. Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat has actually polled more votes in rural areas than in the urban areas. While in the last 3 days, I have been only listening to analysis which says that Aam Aadmi Party has polled only in the urban areas. However, BJP, on the other hand, has polled almost 50% of the rural areas, gone more into semi-urban, and got maximum in the urban areas. This was very well understandable. In the last elections, the rural areas were where BJP got the maximum hit. It was here that Congress has polled more than the BJP. That was the reason that Congress got 77 seats in all. But again, it is the rural area where Aam Aadmi Party actually hit the Congress, particularly in those two regions where we are talking about Kutch Saurashtra and we are also talking about South Gujarat, but not so much in North and not so much in Central Gujarat. So Gujarat में के जो Central Gujarat और North Gujarat का rural है, वहां पे अभी भी bipolar ही contest हुआ है, बरखा. There even a majority of the seats have seen the BJP versus the Congress in the rural areas as well as in urban areas. But in the areas of Saurashtra, in the areas of South Gujarat, the number of votes which Aam Aadmi Party has got in rural areas is actually at par or more than the Congress.
So what I think we'll do is we'll discuss some of the data we've seen so far, and then start looking at some of the other very interesting facts you have to reveal. Any reactions to this, Tehseen? Does any of this actually surprise you? Because there's an assumption, for example, that the AAP is done better in urban areas, but Yashwant is actually telling us that is not the case. Even in terms of the age group and political affiliation, Yashwant, if you had to sum it up in terms of age and income groups, once again, what is the big summary point, Yashwant?
I think the big summary point, first of all, is not to take Gujarat as a whole. First of all, Gujarat in the north and the center, the contest is still BJP versus Congress. That is very clear. It was bipolar. But as far as southern part or Saurashtra is concerned, that is where I think it has become genuinely triangular. And in certain sections of the demographics, Aam Aadmi Party has performed better than the Congress in those sections. So this is how I see, first of all, the bifurcation of the Gujarat in the north and the south as a large. And then within the south also, demographically, certain sections AAP has performed better and other sections Congress has performed better.
Okay, Tehseen, go ahead.
So first of all, thank you, Yashwant, for that very comprehensive data. And we really, really need this, at least speaking from the Congress party point of view, because I'm a Congress party voter and I want to put that out. And I desperately want to see the Congress party win. This is very important because the lazy analysis of the Congress party or its supporters or its analysis or journalists who support it is, oh, look, the Aam Aadmi Party, A is only an urban-based party. Therefore, it'll cut BJP votes, A. B, they were laughing on the day of the election results, saying the Aam Aadmi Party got only 12% odd vote. Now, what Yashwant says comprehends with what the data I had. So, in Saurashtra, Kutch, and southern Gujarat, the Aam Aadmi Party polled close to 20% vote. So, it was neck to neck with the Congress Party. So, when you divide Gujarat, the Aam Aadmi Party is actually a factor today in Gujarat, and that is something the Congress needs to work upon. Second thing, I think, which is very important, is Congress. From one extent thought urban Gujarat would go to BJP, rural would come to Congress, and semi-urban is where the fight would be. Now what you're seeing that there is a mixture of areas, and if you're not able to motivate your cadre or your people to come out and vote, because I think the voting percentage this time in Gujarat was much lower than what it was in 2017, and Yashwant will give us those exact numbers. So what I also feel is a lot of people have not come out and cast their vote against the BJP because they simply weren't motivated enough to come out. And therefore, it makes it even more important for opposition parties that want to dethrone the BJP in Gujarat that they need to fight the election. You can only win an election if you fight. If you don't fight an election, you sit on lazy analysis, you will end up in a disaster, as is what's happened in Gujarat.
So let me open this up now for the others. Ashwani ji, आप इस डेटा को देखते हुए क्या कहेंगे?
बरखा जी देखिए, आम आदमी पार्टी ने निसंदेह जो है कांग्रेस के वोट काटने की बात की है। हर जगह देखा जा रहा है, जहां भी वोट कटा है कांग्रेस का ही वोट कटा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी अगर मिलाया जाए तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी 53% के आसपास वोट पाई है, और सबको मिला दिया जाए, इवन इंडिपेंडेंट या जो भी जितने हैं सारे मिला दिया जाए तो ये 47% तक पहुंच रहे हैं। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी तो इनसे आगे ही है। दो तीन जगह भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने पिछले चुनाव में कमजोर प्रदर्शन किया था, जैसे आदिवासी बेल्ट में हम लोग कम सीट पाए थे। इस बार 27 सीट में 24 सीट जीतने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया है। वोट परसेंटेज बढ़ा है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का। आम आदमी पार्टी और कांग्रेस वहां पर चूंकि हमसे पहले ज्यादा थी तो वहां पर संघर्ष करती हुई नजर आई है। और सुरक्षित सीट जो है 40 सीट सुरक्षित है, जिसमें बीजेपी को पिछले उसमें जो है 16 सीट मिली थी और कांग्रेस को 20 वोट। हम लोगों ने उसमें भी सेंध लगाया है। 40 में से 34 सीट भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खेमे में गई है और 5 सीट कांग्रेस को और 1 सीट आम आदमी पार्टी को गई है। तो वोट किसका कटा है? भारतीय जनता पार्टी का वोट बढ़ा है। कांग्रेस का वोट जो है हर जगह कम हुआ है। और तहसीन जी इस बात को माने ना माने, लेकिन आम आदमी पार्टी ने कांग्रेस को लगभग हर क्षेत्र में डेंट किया है। ठीक है, भले ही मैंने कल आपके साथ बैठ के हमने जो भी बातें कही थी, कोई आइडियोलॉजी नहीं है। देखिए उनके लोग विधायक भागने लगे, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को समर्थन देने लगे, लेकिन जनता ने, वहां की जनता ने, कांग्रेस के लोग वोट कटकर उनके पास आए हैं। इस समय मतलब ये देखा जाएगा कि आम आदमी पार्टी ने जहां भी, और इसका वो है इतिहास है, जहां भी देखिए कांग्रेस को हराने के लिए कांग्रेस का ही वोट कटा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पूरे देश में कहीं भी नुकसान, ये हम एमसीडी के चुनाव नहीं लेते हैं, एमसीडी के चुनाव में भी हम लोग 104 सीट जीते। हम लोग का वोट परसेंटेज देखिए, वो चीजें 15 साल का हमारा कार्यकाल था, उसमें भी कुछ कमियां होंगी, लेकिन
तो
कहीं भी अगर
आज आप मानते हैं कि आज जहां बीजेपी आम आदमी पार्टी को अपना ऑपोजिशन नहीं मान रही थी, आज आप मानते हैं कि कांग्रेस को भारी नुकसान पहुंचा है आम आदमी पार्टी से?
देखिए, लोकतंत्र में कोई भी पार्टियां आती हैं, बहुत सी पार्टियां आती हैं और आएंगी। आपने उत्तर प्रदेश के हम लोग निवासी हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में हमने देखा मायावती की पार्टी का, आप लोगों ने तो लंबा जर्नलिज्म किया है, लेकिन मायावती की पार्टी का शुरू से देखिए क्या स्थिति रही। एक समय मायावती की पार्टी इस तरीके से पीक पर गई कि 4 बार वो मुख्यमंत्री रही। सबसे ज्यादा टूटन जनता दल या मायावती जी की पार्टी में हुई। वोट परसेंटेज उनका 27% तक था। वोट परसेंटेज उनका घटता रहा, बढ़ता रहा। 2019 का चुनाव आता है, समाजवादी पार्टी और बहुजन समाज पार्टी मिलकर लड़ते हैं चुनाव। स्थिति क्या होती है? बहुजन समाज पार्टी 10 सीट पाती है, ये 5 सीट पाते हैं। वोट परसेंटेज देख लीजिए, उनका घटता है। तो इस तरीके से जब आम आदमी पार्टी आई है, हम आम आदमी पार्टी को अपना राइवल जरूर मानेंगे, मगर आज अभी भी पूरे देश में हम देखें तो कांग्रेस हमारे लिए हमारी राइवल है। आम आदमी पार्टी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए नुकसान करने वाली कहीं नहीं।
Rasheed, one comment from you, and then I'm on Yashwant to take us through the rest of the data. Rasheed?
Very quickly, I think, Barkha, first of all, there's newness in Aam Aadmi Party that is attracting, not only the youth, but also, rural voters or the poorest of the poor. I think the Congress needs to get its act together, not just in terms of campaign, etc., but why it is losing the young voter. Remember, it was Rajiv Gandhi who lowered the, age of voting that to 18 years of age. But the Congress has, absence of ideology in terms of, unlike the right or the left. It does not have anything to attract the youth. I mean, if you look at Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, they are relatively speaking younger faces in Indian politics. Yet the attraction towards the Congress among the youth or first-time voter is the lowest. So this is something, a huge cause of concern for the Congress.
Okay, Yashwant, now we've looked at age, we have looked at the data by income groups. Now there are many other categories. There's been a lot of debate over Dalits, over Adivasis, over Patidars, over Muslims. So I'm going to hand it over to you for your other key data points.
To the Dalit and then followed by the Adivasi voters.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So let's go directly to the Dalit voters, and you see 46%, 46 out of every 100 has voted for the BJP. And again, over here, I can see that from the granular data, the Dalits in the north actually have voted more for the BJP than the Dalits in the south. However, in case of Adivasis and in terms of tribal votes, where, in case of, first of all, in Dalits, the AAP's presence has been a denting thing, but it's only up to 10 or 11%. But look into the Adivasi votes, and that is where it comes glaring at your face. That in the ST others, almost like 31% have gone to the Aam Aadmi Party, way more than the Congress. In the main Bhil and other main Dalit categories, BJP has made a huge jump over here. And that is the new catchment area for BJP for sure. But yes, AAP has surprised. Even to me, it has surprised, because I was considering, Barkha, in South Gujarat particularly, Aam Aadmi Party would be doing only, somewhat good in Surat and surrounding areas, but not beyond that. But this has surprised me, because yes, this majority of these votes have largely come in the southern Gujarat. The tribals of the North Gujarats have voted more for the Congress. I'm talking about when compared to the we are talking about the opposition vote sphere. But in the north also, majority of the tribal votes have gone to the BJP. Now, the BJP has worked really systematically well along with their parent organization in the tribal belt. We have seen that. And Barkha, if you remember, in one of the shows, we did discuss, Rasheed bhai was also there, that the by-election about 6 or 8 months back, which happened in the western Madhya Pradesh, a key constituency which BJP won almost like after 4 decades. It was a tribal seat. And that was actually bordering Gujarat. And I had said at that point of time that, this is a belt which doesn't apply the state demarcations in that way. It is the same demography which borders entire Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, right in the middle, the Bhil, Bhilali, Patiali, the 3 dialects, that major dialect that they speak. Yeah. And if it is happening on the Madhya Pradesh side, you can expect something to happen on the Gujarat side as well. And these results are pretty much confirming that. So I think there is a cause of concern over here that, funny thing is that yes, Congress lost Adivasi votes, but they have kind of gone vertically, a big chunk to the BJP and a significant chunk to Aam Aadmi Party. So there still remains a significant tribal vote which have not gone lock, stock and barrel to the BJP.
So can I summarize again that the Dalits vote is gravitating in the largest percentage points towards the BJP. The Adivasis are actually divided between the scheduled tribe Bhil and the scheduled tribe others. But here is where the Aam Aadmi Party is doing damage to the Congress. Am I correct, Yashwant?
Yeah, correct. And it's surprising because of a simple reason that we have seen that Aam Aadmi Party was trying to get into an alliance with the BTP. We thought that once that alliance was called off, Aam Aadmi Party, we were taking them as a non-existent in that belt. Because AAP, for all practical matters, Barkha, has been largely an urban phenomena. Yes, in Punjab they swept, which was also included the rural Punjab. I understand that, but it took about 7-8 years for them to have that kind of impact.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. But over here, something is happening which we have to analyze and get into the much more basically micro granular data at the even probably at the seat level to see whether it was candidate driven, whether it was policy driven, whether it was campaign driven, or whether it was just fatigue of these tribal voters where they have been voting for Congress for almost like 7 decades and somehow they felt disconnected this time.
Okay, can we look at the next one now? Can we bring up the next slide?
That should be on Patidar, if I'm not wrong. It is. Okay. So the story over here, it doesn't look like big one that, okay, BJP polled more than 50% in both Lewa and Patidar and Kadwa Patidars, both ways. But this is important and critical because this is where BJP got really badly hit last time. And particularly in Saurashtra region and southern Gujarat region when Patidar Anamat Andolan was at its peak. Now, overall, BJP has polled more than 50%, but there is a split. In Lewa Patel category, the support for BJP was less than the Kadwa Patel. And even in this regional, because the Kadwa Patels are in the northern territory, more in north areas, the support is 60% plus for the BJP. But in the southern areas, the Lewa Patel support for the BJP actually in Saurashtra, for example, is in the 40s. It's not even in the 50s. And this is where interesting thing is that AAP has actually polled more of the Lewa Patel and it has got polled more Lewa Patel than the Congress. And that is an eye-opener because if the BJP figures out that their support base among the Kawa Patel is back to their normal thing, but among the Leva Patel, it is still not to the normal thing. I genuinely believe they are going to do a lot of exercise now just to see what went wrong, bring some of the key Leva Patel leaders back into the party fold from other parties or anything. But I think BJP will sense that the Patel supports, which used to be in 60s for them, almost touching to the normal level as far as the Karwa Patel is concerned. But one significant Patel faction, they haven't got it yet there. There is something wrong over there. They will try to repair that.
Finally, the last slide, which is going to be very debated, hotly debated. How did Muslims vote? Yes.
Very interesting and very debatable. Yes, I understand. But before anybody thinks that there is something weird, odd, let me tell you that in 2012, when Narendra Modi contested as the chief minister in Gujarat, at that point of time, BJP had crossed the 20% vote mark in Muslim voters at that point of time. And when I was presenting that number, I remember we were at the debate and Yogendra Yadavji said that even the CSDS data, even in 2012, had kind of suggested 12 out of 100 going for the BJP, which has crossed 20% 12 years back. 10 years back in 2012.
And looking at this slide, a higher percentage of Muslims in Gujarat voted for the BJP than for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Exactly. So Muslims in Gujarat somehow they have either stuck to the Congress or in areas they have swung to, maybe they have been voting for the BJP. Yogendra Yadavji at that point of said to me कि ये डर के कारण लोग वोट डालते हैं कि he said in Hindi कि जल में रहकर मगर से बैर कुंवर करता है. Well, a political point well taken, but I think there is something interesting happening because I was looking into regional variations, Barkha. If you look into the Muslim seats of Gujarat, where the Muslims are in considerable number, there are seats in Ahmedabad, central Gujarat, and then there are certain seats in Kutch areas, which have a significant Muslim population. And you will be surprised to know, Barkha, that in those areas of Kutch, actually BJP support, the Muslim support for the BJP is almost touching 35%. While it comes into a single digit as far as North Gujarat is concerned or certain pockets of central Gujarat is concerned. Right. So there is a huge significant variation for the support. Now, how and why the Kutchi Muslims are voting more for the BJP? Well, if that has something to do with the water getting over there, something other schemes which are working for them, or it is because of certain MLAs have a significant rapport with the Muslim population. That is something for the micro analysis, but this is how it is right now.
Can I now open this up for the others? Your data has been fascinating. I want to start with this last point of the Muslims, a greater percentage voting. Rasheed, we were debating this on a different program just yesterday, and we said the data wasn't there to prove the BJP or the supporters of the BJP's assertion that a significant number of Muslims in Gujarat have voted for it. Now, Yashwant's data is granular, and it tells you that while the larger percentage of Muslims have stayed with the Congress, about half, 24% have gone with the BJP, higher percentage point than with the Aam Aadmi Party. Rasheed, your thought, then Ashwani, and then Tehseen. Rasheed.
Yeah, I think so. In that sense, Barkha, it is not surprising because there's already been some kind of engagement, is there political engagement, and Barkha, we must remember there are some profession, based, some caste or some social groups are there within the Muslims who have finding some kind of traction. I think the whole story is very hazy because there is no sense of empowerment, that Muslims are not getting seats and tickets, etc. But at municipal level, it's happening in Nagpur, it's happening in parts of Madhya Pradesh, and it's happening in Gujarat, where BJP at the local level has established some kind of contact with Muslims, and Muslims have also started voting in small numbers, started voting, and there is a kind of fatigue and a lot of factors Mr. Yashwant Deshmukh has cited, like the choice of candidates. There are some vote traders. I mean, it's a negative sense to say that, but those who are responsible for 4,000, 5,000 votes at all, many times they also do some kind of dealing that happens in the realm of Indian political system. This happens. It's a combination and result of all these factors. This is how I explain it.
But if I were to take this to UP, your state, Ashwini ji, और रामपुर में हम देखें अगर क्या हुआ है, रामपुर where for the first time the BJP has won with a Hindu legislator, और आप ये देखिए, लेकिन वहाँ voter turnout भी बहुत low रहा है. So to what extent can we draw a deduction that Muslims are voting for the BJP? यशवंत का डेटा बहुत interesting talking point है. अश्विनी जी.
जी बरखा जी, देखिए यूपी में रामपुर का जो मसला है, क्योंकि रामपुर में 60% मुस्लिम वोटर और 40% हिंदू वोटर हैं, तो इन दोनों में देखा जाए टर्नआउट, अभी पिछला 2 चुनाव हम देखें तो 2017 के चुनाव में हमको 7% वोट मिला था ओवरऑल पूरे यूपी में, और 2022 के चुनाव में हमको 8% मुस्लिम वोट मिला था. लेकिन जब ये इलेक्शन हुआ एमपी के इलेक्शन के बाद वहां के मुसलमानों की बात बदली है. वहां चूंकि वो लोग, एक दहशत थी वहां आजम खान जी की कि किसी का घर कब्जा किया, किसी का जमीन कब्जा किया, किसी का कुछ किया, बहुत से लोग निकल कर आए और उन्होंने बयान दिए हैं, सार्वजनिक रूप से बयान दिए हैं कि हम लोगों को इन्होंने सताया है. ये उसका असर है. वोट कम हुआ है, मगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मुस्लिम्स में अच्छा वोट दिया है रामपुर में. इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जो इनके ऊपर एलिगेशन पहले लगते थे, सपा की सरकार थी, दबा दिए जाते थे, लेकिन जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने उसको उभारना शुरू किया तो जो लोग दबे कुचले थे, इनके द्वारा प्रताड़ित लोग थे, क्योंकि इनकी भाषा आपने देखा, भाषा की वजह से ही सजा पा चुके, तो उनकी भाषा वहां के लोगों के लिए कितनी खतरनाक होगी वो देखने लायक है. कि जितना वोट ये जो है 1,30,000 वोट ये वहां शहर में पाते थे, आज उतना पोल नहीं हुआ कुल मिला के. तो जितने लोग थे, चलो हमारे वोट से इनको हम नहीं देंगे, हमको नहीं देना है. कुछ वोटर थे जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए आगे आए और उन्होंने वोट दिया और 33,000 से आकाश जी जीते. ये फर्स्ट टाइम ये है कि मुस्लिम वोट का टर्नआउट हुआ है बहुत बढ़िया रामपुर में. जी.
तो ये I want to bring in Tehseen. Tehseen, if the data, as it seems to suggest, a win in Rampur for the BJP, a higher percentage vote of Muslims going to the BJP than to the Aam Aadmi Party, if this then changes the conventional conversation, even for a party like the one you support, when it attacks the BJP. So, how do you make sense of this data?
Thank you, Barkha. Actually, this conventional wisdom has changed long ago, and on social media, television channels, and in person, I've been warning the opposition parties about it, particularly the Congress. Please stop viewing Muslims as one homogeneous group. And Yashwant will bear with me, Rasheed ji will bear with me. Muslims are as diverse as Hindus are, as diverse. My mum is a Aga Khani Muslim, she's a Shia. Now, a lot of Aga Khani Muslims are very comfortable with the BJP. Puris are very comfortable with the BJP. The visuals you showed of the Honorable Prime Minister was with the Sayyidna, the Bori Imam. So again, you see, Kachi Muslims are very comfortable with the BJP because that's a bordering state. Nationalism for them is completely different from what it's seen in different areas. They're more similar to other bordering states. So you have to understand that there is also a cultural effect in play. Just to slightly sidetrack, my mom has a Ganesha outside her house, because that's part of her culture. So it's very, very, what's happened unfortunately is, to the BJP's advantage, is the stereotyping of the Muslim. So you have somebody with absolute respect, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, so please don't troll me. Somebody with a beard or with a cap is on television channel looking to represent Muslims is not the actual voice of Muslims. Muslims are very diverse, taking a very conservative view. Now, Rasheed ji is a liberal Muslim, if I may say so. So there is that effect that is coming into play,
but
and the aspirations.
What is politically the message both from these numbers of C voter and Rampur's result, Tehseen?
The aspirations of Muslims are similar to the aspirations of young Hindus. Young Muslims, young Hindus, young Christians, young Sikhs, young men, young women, young transgenders have the same enemy. Their enemy is poverty, lack of opportunities, unemployment. Therefore I say even more to the Congress, fight on issues of development, not on issues of religion. Because on issues of religion, you lose a significant of people who culturally migrate to the other side. If you fight on issues of development, you have a chance of winning. So, it's great as a visual picture that there is a particular stereotyping, but that's not the complete truth in India. The aspiration is what the truth is. And this is not a new phenomena. It's been simmering for some time. It's only now starting to show out in data. But this has always been there. And as India progresses, as India grows to become from the 5th largest economy to the 3rd largest economy, as per capita income grows, as Muslims migrate out of ghettos into more urban, into more cosmopolitan areas, this will further enhance.
Tehseen, the Aam Aadmi Party has chosen to avoid Hindu-Muslim issues in its fight with the BJP. Do you think the Congress should be doing the same?
No, the Aam Aadmi Party was bigoted. It should have stood up on the issue of Bilkis Bano, and I'll tell you why. Because the average Hindu, you are an average Hindu, Yashwant is an average Hindu, was aghast with what the BJP did. See, you have to stand up on the issues of morality, on the issues of democracy. Can I just give one example? Look at Biden. Biden won the midterms, or did very well in the midterms, on an issue on religion, which the Republicans thought, the abortion issue, by converting it to a human rights issue. When you do that, when you stand up on human rights triumphs religion. You should have spoken about it, not been bigoted and not speak about it, but taken it on the issue of human rights and democracy. That's what youngsters want across religion.
Let's spend 5 minutes debating the key takeaways. Are we in a position to say, Rasheed, that there is a kind of Muslim vote that is emerging that now wants to engage with the BJP and is not so convinced with the Aam Aadmi Party, because both in Delhi and in Gujarat, that is actually the pattern that we're now seeing?
Like all voters, Muslim voters are also, looking at every election differently, and there's a lot of churning is taking place. For instance, I see the Muslim voters, particularly young voters, are moving away from the pronouncements or the guidance of the religious order and religious clergy. That's very clear. I think the major problem with Aam Aadmi Party that the Muslims are able to, this is what I gauge from Urdu media also, that they think that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's party is clever by half. They take different stand in different places. So there is lack of consistency, and that is something when there is like yesterday also we were talking about it, when it's a normal situation, people react differently, and when there is a kind of situation in Delhi's case, wherever there was a trauma of riots, etc., or in Gujarat's case, polarization, they think that Aam Aadmi Party is not standing by them. So this is a very simple thing, and I tell you, Muslim voters are very, in that sense, they're very shrewd. They know the worth of their vote. So I think it's high time the BJP also starts some kind of engagement, which means that there is some sense of empowerment for Muslim women, Muslim youth, etc. And so a new kind of script would be written. Otherwise, this will remain the same, this kind of Hindu-Muslim narrative.
Yeah. Ashwani ji, अब आपके ऊपर एक तरह से आपकी पार्टी, the point is representation को लेके बार-बार सवाल उठाया जाता है. इस बारी दिल्ली के चुनाव में the BJP did field 4 Muslims from the Pasmanda community, but all 4 actually lost those elections because reputational एक problem रहता है. So if Muslim voters are engaging with the BJP, does the BJP also not have to address the issue of representation, the issues of hate speech in a way that आप लोगों ने अभी तक नहीं किया?
बरखा जी, देखिए, जितने 4 लोगों को हमने अभी वो किया, अभी पसमानदा का हम सम्मेलन लखनऊ में हुआ था. भारतीय जनता पार्टी फोकस करती है, अगर जिताऊ कैंडिडेट हमारे वहां होंगे तो हम जरूर जिताऊ कैंडिडेट उतारेंगे. हेट स्पीच के बारे में देखिए, ये लोग जो भी हो, कुछ कहीं ना कहीं अपने नेता लोग बोल जाते हैं, उसको हेट स्पीच कह लीजिए या जो भी कह लीजिए, उसका क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग बोलते हैं, इसलिए उसका दूने गति से जो है उसका अर्थ निकाला जाता है. आज के दिन में आम आदमी पार्टी का जो है, देखिए, मुस्लिम वोट और उस पर सभी लोग फोकस कर रहे थे. वहां पर जाकर लक्ष्मी गणेश की बात कर रहे थे, और कल मैंने कहा था कि वहां पर बिल्किस बानो की बात वो नहीं कर रहे थे. दिल्ली में आने के बाद वो मुस्लिम की बात करते हैं. तो उन लोगों का एक कैरेक्टर अलग है. बट यहाँ पर एक बात जरूर आएगी बरखा जी, कांग्रेस को ही हटाकर, देखिए, जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल मैं दूंगा, आप बंगाल जाइए. बंगाल में ममता बनर्जी जी का वोट क्या था? कांग्रेस के वोटर्स को काट के अपने सत्ता को हासिल करना. वही दिल्ली में इन्होंने वही किया. तो दोनों लोग जिस तरीके से ये चल रहे हैं, इस तरीके से पूरे देश में देखिए कि कांग्रेस अगर मौका देती रही, तो आपका जो पिछला सवाल था उसमें मेरी एक लाइन छूट गई थी कि आम आदमी पार्टी हमारे सामने खड़ी होगी कहीं ना कहीं, ये नहीं पूरे राज्य में. और मैंने तो यहां तक भविष्यवाणी किया कि तीसरे राज्य में इस जीवन में सरकार उनकी नहीं आएगी. आम आदमी पार्टी की, क्योंकि उसके पहले बहुत चीजें हैं, उनके सामने बहुत हैं। कांग्रेस आज के दिन में, कांग्रेस जैसे अभी तहसीन जी भी काफी चीजों को जो है पॉइंट आउट कर रहे हैं, खास करके अगर राहुल जी इनकी बातों को सुने तो कम से कम इस भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में, वो जो मैं कहता हूं इस यात्रा की कोई मंजिल नहीं है, वो बीच से छोड़ के कम से कम अपने लिए कुछ करें, पार्टी के लिए कुछ करें, जिससे कि उनको जैसे हिमाचल वो लोग जीत गए हैं, हिमाचल में राहुल जी का कोई योगदान नहीं होगा, प्रियंका जी पता गई 4-5 सभाएं की, हो सकता है उनका योगदान रहा हो, मगर आज पूरे देश में अगर एक पार्टी को चाहिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को भी एक स्वस्थ और बेहतर विरोधी अगर मिलेगा तो और बढ़िया राजनीति होगी देश की। इस तरीके के राजनीतिज्ञ न मिले जो दिन भर जो है 3 लाख करोड़ का वहां का बजट है और 5 लाख करोड़ का फ्रीबीज बांट रहे हैं, इस टाइप का नहीं होना चाहिए।
आप अभी भी you're taking the Congress more seriously than the Aam Aadmi Party. Before I give Yashwant the last word, Tehseen, you have been despairing on Twitter that you believe the party has not even owned, in a way, the Himachal Pradesh sort of government that it has backed. Your last thoughts on, one more piece of advice for the party you support. Can we unmute Tehseen, please?
Yeah. I'm glad at least Rahul ji and Priyanka ji went today, and along with Kharge ji. So those visuals, everybody cut in. Look, you can only win an election if you fight, right? You may lose, but you can only win it if you fight. So you have to fight. The difference between Gujarat and Himachal was the following. The Congress fought in Himachal. Second thing, you can never win an election by just saying somebody is fascist, somebody is a dictator. All that is fine. Those are political points. Ultimately, what are you giving to the people of the state? In Himachal, whether you agree or you disagree with the Congress, they had the old pension scheme, they were against the Agniveer scheme, they had a policy for the apple growers, they had something to offer the people of Himachal, which was a big deal. So you have to go there with a positive message. One last thing. The Congress, Himachal is a very important victory for the Congress. Forget this revolving door and everything. The BJP stemmed that in Uttarakhand. It's important for the Congress because Himachal is a state with 95% plus Hindus, 65% plus upper caste Hindus in a Hindi heartland. For the first time in 4 years, you defeated the BJP in a state where the Honorable Prime Minister, the tallest leader in our country, says Himachal is my second home. Don't even look at the names of the candidate. Just vote for the Lotus. You're voting for Modi. You've defeated the BJP there. This is a massive, massive achievement for the Congress, and it should own it. It should mark it. It should completely hold it because it will give it confidence going into Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. So if Priyanka ji and the rest of the Congress would have gone to 24 Akbar Road after the Prime Minister had left Ashoka Road celebrating the Gujarat victory, I can tell you every single news channel would have cut in. And that's the only advice I can give the Congress. Okay. Fight and own your victory.
I have to close, but I'm going to give it to Yashwant. The 4 or 5 key messages, political messages that emerged from your post-poll data, if you had to summarize them.
Barkha, probably there would be one which I would be just like to, because by the time Rasheed Bhai was speaking and saying that thing, I was just trying to see if there is any age and regional distribution among the Muslim voters also. And yes, I mean, what I figured out between the age group of 20, listen to this very carefully. Between the age group of 25 to 35, almost 31% Muslims have voted for the BJP.
That's very interesting.
Between the age group of 25 to 35. And when you look into Aam Aadmi Party's base or Aam Aadmi Party's vote into Hindu votes, it is the same age group, new first-time voter, 18 to 25, where they are getting maximum traction. So what is happening over here is very interesting. And thank you, Rasheed Bhai. I will share this data with you, and please just mail me if you want me to dig in further, because data mining is an endless subject. But what I am realizing, that the new voters particularly, they do not want to go for this Hindu-Muslim binary. This is why we are figuring out that new Hindu voters are looking for an alternative going beyond Hindutva. And the new Muslim voters or young Muslim voters are looking to go beyond the stereotyping anti-BJP Muslim vote bank. And there is a lesson for everybody out here. I think people, particularly youngsters, they want to move on beyond the binaries of the communal polarization, beyond the binaries of other issues which are not that important for them in their real life. And they are willing to vote if I mean, if the Muslims in Kutch, if the Muslims in Gujarat are willing to vote for the BJP because नर्मदा का पानी अगर पहुंच गया या उनको कुछ और योजनाओं का फायदा मिला है, and at the same time the younger lot of the Hindus is also open to vote for somebody which is like coming as a new entrant and trying to destabilize things. There is a larger message out there. Don't take the voters for granted, Barkha. Don't take the voters for granted.
I think that is a perfect note to end the program on, but that is a very, very fascinating data point here, that the younger Hindu voter is looking for disruption and the younger Muslim voter in Gujarat is more willing to move beyond the sort of stereotypes that Musliman to kabhi BJP ko vote nahi dega. This has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much, Yashwant. Politicians can say what they want to, but the numbers don't lie. So I think we've learned a lot. Ashwani ji, Tehseen, Rasheed, and Yashwant, thank you, and to our audience, have a great Sunday evening.
Pleasure.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.